Hey there, this is Fufski coming to you from New York. I'm currently at Lower Manhattan Financial District, and today I'm here going to a very special restaurant. It is a Michelin 2-star restaurant that is just recently nominated. It's called SAGA. It is located in this building. This building has 2 restaurants. One is Kreuther, which is a Michelin 1-star restaurant at the first floor. The other is called SAGA, which is a Michelin 2-star restaurant. They were both run by Chef James Ken, and today I'm going to the second one for the birthday celebration. All right, let's go. So we have just informed the concierge about the reservation. We're gonna be waiting here for a couple minutes and they're gonna send us up when they're ready. All right, so now I'm at the 63rd floor of this building. It's kind of like an observatory. I was greeted with some cocktails and I just realized this bartender's a follower of mine.
Yeah.
Very handsome guy. What's your name?
James.
James, a cool guy.
Cool. Nice to be here. It's awesome to meet Fufski. Hopefully he has a nice dinner here at SAGA. Yeah, definitely cool to be here and meet him in person.
Thank you for your service and all.
No problem.
All right, so now I'm at the terrace, enjoying the skyline and the drink. That is an experience. After the quick tour of terrace, now we're seated in this dining room. Well, it looks like the team really took care of us. We have a happy birthday card here and the cocktail still. This is a very nice room, very nice view here. As you can see, there are several windows. So when the sun goes down, we can enjoy the sunset directly from this place. Beautiful. Okay, so very first, we have this amuse-bouche. This is kind of like a soup with some crab. You have this diamond shape. I don't know if that's like ginger or maybe pineapple. And these are the crab meat. Well, look at that. First bite at SAGA. I think the diamond thing is ginger, a bit refreshing here. And this soup is like a slightly spiced bouillon based. Some octopus here as well. Seafood soup in a tiny cup. Then next up, this amuse-bouche appetizer thing. Look at this beautiful presentation. Like I don't even know how to name this. So this is an ensemble of different kinds of seafood products. We have some octopus here. This is a tuna wonton with rolls on the top, and this is like a biscuit thing. And we have, this is abalone. Well, look at that, beautiful. And this is, looks like oyster, and it has this espuma foam here at the top. So like very fancy. Let me try this. First is this octopus with a black garlic glaze. Oh, even just the first bite, the flavor sent me flying. It's not like a particularly punchy or pungent flavor. It's a subtle, complex flavor of balances. You have a bit sweetness from the black garlic, maybe a little bit of sesame, like this nuttiness, and you have the smoky flavor, and the meat is very tender. And the flavor profile is just so interesting. I just never had an octopus like that. Definitely one of the highlights. And this is the tuna wonton with rolls. This one kind of looks like a shao mai in Chinese. The shell is kind of like a wonton shell, but the shape is like shao mai. You just got that salty umami pop from the roll, which is pretty good. The texture is kind of crunchy from the outside, kind of crispy. The tuna flavor is not the most potent one. Maybe the flavor is similar, but I think the roll kind of overtakes the tuna. But nevertheless, a very good bite. So then we have this little cracker-like thing with, oh, I can see a little bit of uni inside. Green apple and uni, refreshing, slightly umami. Okay, next up we have this abalone. Look at that, we have 3 pieces of beautiful abalone. Very nice presentation. That flavor is kind of like a XO sauce, or maybe a little bit of Asian influences here. Interesting, slightly savory and umami. The abalone itself is bouncy, had a nice chewiness. Tender and crunchy at the same time. Also very good. Okay, the last one we have this foam on top. Ooh. It is so fresh, umami, briny, almost a little creamy. And that foam also has a bit of the umami flavor that dissipates in your mouth. I guess that's like a more elevated way of eating oyster instead of sucking it. And this one is our cocktail, dashi martini, made with vermouth, daikon, kombu, and bonito. I never had any umami flavor infused cocktail before, so let me see what is this thing about. Maybe a little bit of umami, but not in the way that you will perceive in the soup or in the seafood or anything. I think initially the flavor profile is a bit sweet and smooth. In the middle is like maybe the umami thing I talked about. At the end, you have this undertone of spiciness that actually lingers for a bit. Interesting. All right, our next cocktail, Far East Colon. This is the vodka-based cocktail with cucumber and green tea. At first, it might seem like a cucumber drink, which it kind of is. I think it has a bit of like this tingling sensation. Yeah, this one has a bit of spiciness as well, but I think it's more like kind of in the middle. All right, so moving on to the next course, we have this small plate of 4-month aged sturgeon caviar with a creme fraiche and English pea. And here we have a dosa, that is the South Indian dosa thing, but in a fine dining setting. There's no chutney. I guess this is the chutney. But either way, let me try this one. We have a spoon that's made with resin, with the caviar, a little bit of creme fraiche together. That's a little bit too much umami that I can handle. This caviar is umami AF. It's umami, slightly briny, slightly creamy, and you have the creme fraiche, which also has a bit umaminess and also a bit saltiness in it, so it kind of enhances it next level. Kind of like an orgasm in your brain. Okay, let me dig into this dosa thing. Almost like an egg roll type of, let me break it apart like that. Very oily. Let me try a bite from this thing itself. Very good. Just like the dosa, slightly crunchy surface, flavorful. Now you have a bit of contrast from the interior of it because the fermentation process releases little air bubbles, so it has a bit like this fluffy, soft interior texture. But this thing is very thin, so the contrast is not very drastic, but you feel it. And unlike the South Indian dosa, this one doesn't have all the masala in it, so it's just like a plain, well, not exactly plain, plainer version of the masala dosa, but still good enough. We have English peas, we have creme fraiche, we have caviar, everything in here. It's good. That's all I need to say. Can't help but notice that this is a really pretty spoon. Moving on to our next phase, we have our next course, or rather next 4 courses combined into a big course. So this is an ensemble of some very interesting items. This is a skewer made with morel mushroom. This is a morel pie, so kind of like a dessert but made with morel. And this is a watercress mole, like the Mexican mole, but made with watercress. And we have this endive with fragua and mousse. And at the very end, that is an asparagus salad type of thing with watercress mole at the bottom and taleggio foam in the middle. First, morel skewer. These 2 pieces around the morel, it's kind of like a crunchy pickle. Oh, that morel pieces in the middle is amazing. Morel is a very priced ingredient. It's used in some of these high-end dishes, but this is the first time I eat it in a skewer form. This is basically just like, you know, like the Japanese maitake mushroom, like songrong. It's kind of like that. You're just eating the flavor of the morel itself. You don't need anything else. You just like grill that thing, and that thing is so umami, so earthy, so complex. Like the flavor itself is amazing. You don't need anything else. Okay, so next one, this is the morel pie. So same morel as the skewer we had before, but made into kind of a dessert with watercress mole, which is interesting. I have no idea what kind of combination will come out of it. I mean, I know what mole is. It's just like a complex sauce. Mole means sauce in Nahuatl. So mole is usually made with chocolate, chili, and a bunch of other ingredients like different nuts, sesame seeds, peanuts, almonds. Different region in Mexico has different version of mole. And this is like watercress mole, so I guess it's more seasonal, more springy, more fresh. But I have no idea how it's gonna taste like, especially with the pie. Actually, let me try a little bit of this mole first. I just wanna see what's that about. Like, I wanna get a feel of the sauce. Interesting. It's like a mix between chutney and mole. Like the traditional mole, more earthy, chocolatey, bitter, sweet, complex flavor. That's on one side. And the other side is like the Indian chutney. You have the mint, cilantro, refreshing kind of vibe to it. And this is kind of like the cross in between the 2. Morel pie. Yeah, I can actually see morel pieces right here. Oh, this guy's a genius. The pastry, the pie, is just like a dessert. You have that aroma from the butter. You have this slightly crispy filo, and the texture is very pleasing. And at the same time, the filling is morel. I never thought these 2 things could work together, but seems like that they do. The morel here isn't particularly strong as the skewer. It adds just a little bit to it. Earthy, umami, a delicate balance. Okay, so this is the watercress mole thing here. Okay, let's try this bizarre combination. It's like you're eating the nature, because the mole is herbaceous and earthy a little bit. And this one is earthy and umami, so when you have them combined, it's a blend of all these flavors. It's kind of like a mushroom sprouting from the ground type of vibe. And next up we have this endive with foie gras mousse. The endive is crunchy. On the other hand, it's not bitter at all. The endive is a bit bitter in nature. You either need to add a lot of sugar to it, or you need to kind of have salt to it to extract the bitter water. This particular piece is not bitter at all, but at the same time, it doesn't have too strong of a flavor. It just mostly serves as a vessel, which is kind of crunchy. And you have the foie gras mousse, which is kind of like umami and creamy and all. Okay, so the last one, we have this asparagus with taleggio foam and watercress mole at the bottom. Taleggio cheese foam with asparagus. Is this a white asparagus? I got a feeling that this is gonna be very umami. White asparagus. Oh, it's so fresh, so umami. Especially the white asparagus is slightly sweet, extremely tender, extremely fresh. This is a price ingredient. It's also got some green asparagus. The taleggio foam is extremely umami also because that's basically cheese, right? Cheese is umami and you have that kind of like condensed into foam. The green asparagus is more crunchy. Both are good. The mole is the same as this one. I think this one, with or without it, it's not gonna make too huge of a difference, but just like the seasonality of it, the freshness of it, the umami of it, was like, okay, so moving on to the next one, we have a monkfish with mussel escabeche. And there is a sauce pouring tableside that is Malaysian-inspired laksa sauce with green chili. Wow, I feel like I'm going on a global trip right now on the tongue. Like, I feel like I had the food with inspiration taken from everywhere of the globe. This monkfish is really meaty. Very meaty. It's got that a little bit of chewiness, but also tender. And you have a hint of this laksa-ish, but it's not exactly like a Malaysian laksa. It has a bit more minty, herbaceous flavor in it. So I'll say it's kind of a laksa's chutney infusion. I like this monkfish, perfectly cooked. Tender, at the same time bouncy. Aroma from the butter. And you have the herbaceous, almost minty sauce in it. Okay, so moving on, we have this main course, showstopper. Just look at this spectacular presentation. It's such a sight to behold. What we have is the duck here in the middle. This is duck breast, sous vide, then confit, and we have a duck leg with some duck crumble, some seasonal vegetables in this beautiful pot. And this is a yogurt with pumpkin seeds and two types of dip. This is a harissa dip. This is a Thai chili honey dip. Here is lettuce salad with some bread crumble. And this is a fava bean hummus, so sort of like an Egyptian version. Instead of chickpea, this is with fava beans. And at the very end, we have a Moroccan bread, which is kind of like a paratha. So this is the yogurt with pumpkin seeds. Oh, really good. You have such a potent flavor from the seed. There's nutty seeds, pumpkin seeds. It's a bit oily, infused in that yogurt. The yogurt is mild, not really tangy. It's pretty smooth. Fava hummus. So hummus made with fava instead of chickpea, sort of an Egyptian vibe, with some crispy couscous on top. Oh, okay, and the sauce might be some kind of, I don't know, like cilantro chutney type of vibe. Earthiness from the fava a little bit, maybe slight smokiness. The crispy couscous has this crumbly textural component. This hummus itself is not like the chickpea hummus that you have, which is like very creamy. This is a bit coarse. Let me try a little bit of the sauce here. A bit herbaceous, a bit sweet, seasonal and fresh. This reminds me of the ancient version of hummus that I had back then in Turkey. Before hummus became a thing, in the early times of the Ottoman Empire, when they came out with the first version of hummus, it was coarsely grounded chickpea with pine nuts and cinnamon. This obviously isn't the same interpretation, but I get a little bit of vibe of the early hummus kind. Okay, the next one we have this baby lettuce with some bread crumbles. Crunchy, slightly acidic from the vinegar, and you have that savory crumble from the breadcrumb. Moroccan flatbread. Just like a paratha. Slight aroma from the butter, savory, slightly crunchy, slightly sweet. Okay, so the last thing left to try is this amazing duck breast, sous vide and confit. Oh wow, that is mind-blowing. The duck flavor, it's so intense. And you have the crispy outside and very tender inside. And you have that sweetness from the caramelization, like the fattiness, just everything, wow. The inside is sous vide, so perfectly medium rare, no gaminess at all. I don't think I have a better piece of duck than this. I mean, I had some great duck before. I think my last contender was a duck dish I had at Meadowsweet. Used to be a Michelin one-star restaurant, but now I think it lost its star. Well, now this is the best one. And also we have two sauces here. This is harissa, this is Thai chili. Harissa sauce, which is the North African spice made with, it has cumin, has roasted chili. It has a signature flavor profile. It's just so good. Can't go wrong with any of these. This does remind me of Peking duck. You have the duck component, that's the duck breast. You have this flatbread, which in the Chinese context, you will have something like a spring roll, like a chunjuan type of rice flour pancake thing. Then you have the sauce. In the Chinese context, it would be a sweet noodle sauce like 甜面酱. But here it's harissa and Thai chili. So it's like Peking duck transported to Morocco. A Michelin Morocco duck. Duck leg here with some duck crumble on top. This is another different feeling entirely. You have a more intense flavor. Also extremely tender. And the meat inside is so soft, it's almost creamy. It's like the meat, the tissue and all that gets so soft that almost like cream. And I think there's also a little bit like herbaceous, even floral flavor in there. Oh, I see a little flower here. That's why there's a floral flavor. So it has a bit of fragrance on top of the duck. Amazing. Look at this. We literally finished everything. I can't even believe this, but it's that good. Birthday time and birthday cake. Another year, time flies. But like there's this thing said, as long as you don't have kids, your 30s will be like your 20s, but with money. I guess. Anyways, make a wish. Okay, moving on. Before the dessert, after main course, we have this Moroccan tea. The server poured this tea in front of us. It's a nice presentation. This tea is really sweet and has a very potent minty flavor in it. You still got the tea flavor, but it's more like 30% tea, 30% sweetness, 40% mint. Reminds me of some Syrian tea. This is the pre-dessert thing that we're gonna have. Feels like pistachio plus a hint of citrus and with a crispy cracker. Some Middle Eastern vibe, like a baklava, kunefe type of thing. So now we have this beautiful dessert. This is elderflower jelly, and we have a strawberry sorbet and an ice cream. On top of this thing is called kataifi, so like fried crispy noodle thing. This reminds me of the Syrian dessert, like the bird nest that's made with that. Mildly sweet, creamy, a bit fruity, maybe a hint of floral fragrance, but that's not very strong. Moving on with the sorbet here. Refreshing, not too sharp, not sour, more a bit sweet, and the ice cream thing. Oh, what? Okay, hold on a minute. This ice cream looks very unassuming, just like white color, but it is spiced, it is seasoned. I don't know if that's cinnamon or maybe nutmeg or something. Maybe even a little bit clove. Spiced ice cream. Lastly with this kataifi. Crispy and sweet. This one feels like a deconstructed Middle Eastern dessert. Okay, so let's see what this birthday cake is about. I think it's just like a fudge. Oh, chocolate fudge inside. Gotta be a bit careful with this though. It looks like this thing is gonna fall apart by any minute. All right, so we have this kind of a cocktail, digestive maybe in the house. This is a caramel milk punch with mint. I like the sound of the ice cube hitting the glass. It's got a similar vibe to the Moroccan tea. Good thing that it's not very high in alcohol, or I might not come back. Finally, I think that's pretty much it. This is the last thing. It's kind of like a SAGA's version of dessert tray or petit food, if you will. This is a candy tray that you can rotate, and on each slot there are 2 candies. And I'm gonna take out these. I'm probably not gonna finish these. I'm gonna take them to go, but maybe I'll just eat one, like a chocolate type of thing. Let's try this. It's got almost like sesame type of things in it. Sesame and peanuts, chocolate outside. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty much that's it. These are some of the rest, but I don't think I'm gonna have it today. I'm so full. All right, so that wraps up the meal. It is absolutely amazing. I'm so full. Like I said, this is one of the rare occasions I got so full in the Michelin restaurants. We spent 5 hours in this restaurant, so quite an experience. The food is absolutely amazing. Some of them even mind-blowing. And I really like the style. This restaurant is kind of like the avant-garde of new American cuisine, that it really went all the way out to try different combinations with flying presentations and flavors that really just give you a new concept of this kind of elevated dining. If you're more traditionalist, you might not be exactly into this type of show-off in skills and techniques and all. Some people might prefer a more classic one. This is as fusion as it can get. But you know what? I like it. I think this is a cool experience, and this is the reason I pay a premium to dine in a fancy restaurant to try dishes that challenge my concepts like this. And needless to say, the food here is absolutely amazing. I think this is now my favorite Michelin 2-star restaurants in the city. It used to be Gabriel the Kreuther, and also like modern, but I think now this topped them all. This is now my favorite. Consider that there are some, 3 stars in New York, and I've been to most of them. I will say that this might be my favorite Michelin restaurants in New York City. And in fact, I think this one might even have a chance to go for the 3-star, the creme of the creme. And when that happens, I'll certainly be going back. This is Fufski. I make videos about food, travel, and culture, in particular food of the NYC and Michelin star restaurants. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.